move on to a third match with happy things in it.
Agreed.
And I'm talking 2 happy things. Number 1, Tice, who's always a delight. And number 2, Viper.
Oh, can we just talk to Tice for a second? That would cheer me up.
Can we talk about Viper's deck?
Yeah,
that cheers me up a lot, too.
Sure.
I want to look specifically at Viper's warrior deck that he has here, because he's brought the Boom Ship and Hakar in the warrior deck. The Boom Ship and Hakar.
One more time?
The Boom Ship and Hakar.
Maybe one more?
No, I can't do one more. I'm sorry to say the no. I know that's not what I'm supposed to do, but 3 is comedy, and that's where you stop.
Yeah, but comedy is also...
The Boom Ship and Hakar!
Oh, if you'd have waited, I was about to say, the comedy is also subverting expectations. And if you just... Oh, it would have been beautiful. Still very good, though. Well done. So Boom Ship and Hakar in this
The Boom Ship and Hakar!
in Viper's Control Warrior, which I talked about, again, a lot in the pre-show, where he has these, specific matchups he's looking to hit with these, and we're looking at decks that try and empty their own deck, so like Druids that are playing Nomi, Paladins that are playing Holy Rashavala. Then when you factor into that, of course, he's also been quite outspoken. I believe you said you saw him talking about on stream or on Twitter, I can't remember which one you said it was, that he felt like, this Discover nerf was huge for Warrior.
Oh, yeah.
Like, absolutely changed the way that you have to build the deck. So when you put those two things together, yeah, you're going to get yourself into a situation where you do something wacky. And then if you just start the day, if you wake up in the morning and you are Viper, you are also inclined to do something wacky with your deck list.
Yeah, he talked at length about how the discovery changes for Warrior meant a lot, and he still included 2 copies of Omega Assembly. The card is just a lot of gas if you have Dr. Boom in play, and I think that's really the reason why that one sticks around for him. But talking about the Flunky specifically, when the math was weighted on to discover Warrior mechs, it's also that the Warrior Taunts are just very impactful, I think is really what it boils down to. So you were looking at a 12 to 48 ratio of Warrior Taunts to neutral taunts. That drops
with the weighting factored in.
With the weighting factored in. That drops to 3 to 48.
Yeah.
And that's a drastic difference. Like, if you want to take it into account from just a percentage standpoint, which I'm certain Viper is doing,
yep,
that could be the difference in the winning and losing rate of including Fright and Flunky in your deck in his mind.
Yeah.
And he was extremely concerned with it and talked at length about how it was the true counterplay to Priest. It was the deck that allowed you to build a lineup and manipulate how you played against a Priest lineup. Because it wasn't just that matchup in particular, it's the way it changes how you build the rest of the decks and how you queue them as a result. And he had a lot to say about it. And honestly, it got to a point where I just started feeling dumb because he's so smart. But I played a lot of Warrior that day. It felt fine to me, but I'm super happy he's found himself an alternative, because he said it before. If I do the same thing as everybody else, I'm going to win the same as everybody else. I have to do something different, or how else am I going to win?
Solid philosophy.
Viper's a smart dude.
Yeah, I mean, when it's successful, you can't argue with it, right? Like, some people will come out and say, yeah, like, I just build better decks than everyone else, and they have, like a 49% competitive win rate. We're like, well, no, you don't then, do you? Like, you're building decks that are worse than the normal decks that everyone else is playing.
Or the same.
Sure, and playing them 1% worse.
Yeah.
Also acceptable. If you're Viper and you actually have one of the highest competitive win rates over the last 18 months, 2 years or so, and you're doing it with these original decks that you're building and these creative strategies and these unique tech cards, and that's your philosophy, and you're saying, yeah, I find an edge in deck building. Well, yes, you do. Proof is in the pudding.
Yeah. I'm looking at Shield Slam here. I'll tell you what, though, I've seen Viper in this spot as well. He does not like using coin.
No. We do both like using Drain Life, though. That makes us happy.
It's just it just feels right.
Just in case you're lost, Drain Life, Warlock card, deal 2 damage, gain 2 health.
Yeah.
Functionally the same as Armor Up Shield Slam for 2 on 3.
Technically, the Drain Life is worse because you don't get 2 armor here.
Yeah.
Semantics.
Yeah.
The point I'm getting at is that Viper likes to use coin to do something very efficiently. But for me, minions are scary, and I blow them up.
I agree with you. I think we have praised multiple players just for cutting into health using early shield slams. I believe Tice was a victim of one of those very things earlier in the season 2 a couple of weeks ago, where it was just, he has to shield slam a 2/6 for 3, not even killing it. That was Swid's play against Tice, I believe. So I think it's a very effective thing to do against Priest, because for me, That's how you lose. You lose to a huge minion early in the game.
So the kicker here that I think Viper spotted is that what punishes him? Northshire Cleric. That's about it.
Okay.
This goes to 7 health from, say, Power Word Shield and Power Word Shield, or Power Word Shield and Beaming Sidekick.
He wants to coin Restless Mummy.
You have one damage blade, and you have the Coin Restless Mummy. You've gotten resources from Tyson. He's taken his turn to bolster this.
Okay.
If he goes with extra arms, Coin Restless Mummy. If he goes with Northshire Cleric, yeah, that one hurts.
That one does hurt.
But if you look at the rest of the plays, it makes the most sense in this perspective just because it affects the highest range of things. And so Tice, I think, is wise here to set this to 4 health and then bolster the Light Ward that's in play. This makes the Restless Mummy very awkward, but it makes the Shield Slam a lot better.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Because that would be my immediate counter-argument is like, okay, yes, you do potentially stop your opponent going all in on this one minion. Like, there are ways they can still, you were talking about it, like, if there's a Cleric and there's a Circle of Healing, like, whatever, you probably don't win that game anyway. they have Cleric Circle.
You got me.
Like, great. At that point, like, Divine Spirit can come down, whatever, just make a mess of you. But by not giving that opportunity, you do allow more counterplay to your opponent to do kind of awkward things like this against you, right? Like, they have this minion in play, they can leverage that, they can do with that whatever they want. So now Viper is forced to use that Shield Slam. And now this extra arms can potentially come into play and race some of the removal pretty effectively.
It's still the same fear on
Still
Tice's
only
side.
6, though, yeah. Doesn't have enough mana to heal alongside it.
And this is all, because really Viper held this coin. If he uses the coin to handle the minion, instead Tice just goes, okay, how do I redevelop the strongest and make the most of this?
Right.
Instead, Viper has a coin, and the puzzle is for Tice to figure out. Like, there's much more things for Tice to consider than there is for Viper right now.
Sure. I am on board.
Keep the health awkward, get an Acolyte in play.
Yep. Still just a very awkward board state against this Restless Mummy.
Yeah. And so now Viper finally has an actual, real tough turn in front of him.
Yeah.
What now?
But look at that stare he's got. You think he cares about it? You think he cares that it's tough? He welcomes the challenge.
No tomb can hold me. No tomb can hold me.
And it is gonna become quite a challenge.
Yes. Things are going to pick up quick now for Tice's hand. And there is not a great deal of answers in Viper's hand. He has ways to lock down the board with Armadillo and 2 Morden to follow it up. That Hakar is looking a little bit ugly in this matchup, it's got to be said.
Five mana 4/5. Go. That's not good against Acolyte.
Nope.
This hand it is not good.
I wonder.
2 Omega Assemblies in it right now, which have just got so much more underwhelming in terms of playing them for tempo early, because you get one mech of questionable quality from it, as opposed to one mech that's quite often a Dynamatic or an Omega Devastator or whatever it is you want, a Clockwork Goblin, yeah.
Just something that has actual impact instead. It's just mechs.
Yep. And then that Hakar thrown in there as well, but I think this is a danger. You do, some of these cards, Boom Ship, Archmage Vargoth, Hakar the Soulflare, can argue all day about what those are equivalent to, but, could have been a second Eternium Rover, could have been any kind of thing, like Weapons Project to start smacking away at this board, potentially, if the deck was built differently.
This is Tice's opportunity to take pretty big advantage of this.
But how best to do so?
What is Elun's will?
If he doesn't, currently with the hand he has. Sorry?
I kind of want to load up on the injured.
I feel like with the hand that Tice has, if he doesn't draw a bunch of cards off this Acolyte, then he's kind of just conceding the game to Brawl, just because he's going to be so out of gas at that point.
So I'm thinking then you trade in this.
Trade the Blade Master Nephicet.
I want to trade the 1/2 in.
Yeah, that goes in first just because positioning things with the Nephicet afterwards.
Because the Nephicet fixes the Super Collider positioning for you. The natural predator of Super Collider. That's right, Nephicet Ritualist.
You've always got to ask questions about Nephicet positioning whenever a player has to do something awkward like that, like just suicide a 1/2 for no reason. But, you know, can you predict that you're going to extra arms on your Acolyte of Pain in response to your opponent's coin Armadillo? Probably not.
The 1/2 was serving the same purpose the Ritualist is. It was to play around Super Collider.
Yeah.
I think it did its job.
Yeah.
I think the positioning here made a lot of sense.
Yep, agreed. Just saying, you've always got to highlight the question.
An educational answer. I like those.
Wait, hang on.
It happens.
I just realized we've gone back in time.
There's still a lot of Warrior mechs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Viper's in a lot of trouble. Oof.
Ooh, Acolyte dies, Pyro drawn.
I guess that would be the question on the positioning. Is the Light Ward in the right spot?
This is for the Super Collider, yeah. Light Warden goes far right. That's probably better than far left, isn't it?
I don't know. That's
Well,
not
it's
good.
back now and it's on the far right.
Yeah, it's next to a Psychopomp, though.
Yeah, I know.
But you're pressuring. Still no real removal in hand for Viper.
What now?
And it's fair to say, like, in terms of just the big removals, he's playing as many as anyone is, despite his build of the deck. Like, 2 Warpaths, 2 Brawls, 1 Plague of Wrath. Like, there are a very select few people playing 2 Plague of Wrath right now, but outside of that, Viper has as many big sweepers as anyone else's Warrior deck.
Yeah.
Just hasn't found them. Just so happens to have a card the Soul Flayer in his deck.
Didn't replace the board sweep.
Yeah, again, we could play the game of what that card is exactly.
Archivist Elysiana.
Well, not necessarily.
Well, it's either the Boom Ship, the Hakar
That's
Soul
what I'm saying.
Flare,
That's why the game is kind of nonsense,
Yeah.
right? Because, like,
or the Archmage Vargoth. Take your pick. It's
Do you
one of
want
those three.
Exactly. Do you want to decide that the Hakar is the Elysiana, or is the Boom Ship the Elysiana, and the Hakar was an Eternium Rover or a weapon front? Like, it's
Definitely
nonsense,
the
right?
Hakar.
It's nonsense. It's
No.
so pointless.
No. Super pointful.
Okay. Powered Shield.
8, 10, 12.
Yep.
Few points off.
So let's see what this draw is.
That's draws for lethal.
Yep. Wrong
It's
one.
not one of them.
Thought it was Nephicet number 2.
You know, that's the thing about the matchup. Is once the Priest fails to get past that finish line, it becomes real tough. And I think that is, you know, that could be one of the reasons why people, myself included mostly, think that this is Warrior favored, is that, like, when you see them not blast off at the end of the game, you're just winning the game for so long.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, when the Warrior wins, it wins by a long way a lot of the time. This is just a no-cleric game for Tice. Sometimes it be like this.
Down to 3. I was curious about trading off this 2/2 this turn.
For what purpose?
So you just isolate Viper's threat into the injured Blade Master. So what I'm looking at now is that the injured Tolvir, it makes more sense to not do so. And the main reason why is I'm looking at like Super Collider Second Dynamatic, Super Collider Shield Block.